family similar to what we're doing. So you can also save money by doing this. I think that's a big inspiration for a lot of us during this time, is to save money and also eat healthy. So we try to make it something that each of us can decide what we want to add to the garden space. For me, I feel like it's something there for every single person. I like to harvest. I also like to plant. I like to water. Kingston, what are some of your favorite things to do? Beekeep. Oh, so he's more into the beekeeping than I am. He's ready to jump out. And the bee yard just gives kids so much confidence when they're out there and they're able to see that they can do so many wonderful things. So hopefully we'll be able to open some classes up this year and show kids the power of the bee yard and just that confidence that it brings once you're out there and seeing exactly up close what the bees do. So you definitely want to make this a fun activity. When you go outside, have some fun. We like to do things project by project. So right now, we actually were one of the recipients in Forsyth County for the Ag Ventures grants. Woohoo! Yay! So what we're planning on doing with that is actually increasing our CSA. If you don't know, CSA is community supported agriculture, and it's a huge part of our local economy because we're able to supply food through a community base, and then we get all those healthy, good, locally grown products that keep us healthy and well. So that's one of the things that we want to actually do, is be able to increase the amount of food that we're pushing out into the community. We were actually able to serve the Raleigh-Durham area, Forsyth County, Charlotte, and High Point last year. So with this greenhouse, we've already started. We have so much to share with how we're going to be able to do this. And we have a whole process that we've created, but we'll share that later on. So what you want to do definitely is think about your space and what works. Everybody's space is different. Some people might be working on a front porch or a backyard like us, or a piece of land. They might have a piece of land that they're actually growing on, and be able to really visualize what you're doing. So what you want to do with that is really write it down. Planning is an essential part to having a successful garden and creating that canvas that you want to have. So I really like to visualize what we're doing, and vision boards are a good way to do that. You can actually create pictures and put pictures on your vision board and show exactly what it is that you're trying to grow for that season. So normally what we do is each season we kind of map out what we're planning on doing. Infrastructure has been something that's been pretty huge for us in terms of trying to get a really solid plan down on how we're going to be most economical with our setup. So start with what you have. So draw it out. You can actually, there we go. So you can actually draw everything out. Again, we like to use the vision boards. It's something fun that you can do with a family. You can show exactly what vegetables you're looking to produce. You can show if you have beekeeping goals, and really just make it real. Hone in on exactly what it is that you like to do. So this is a little motivation here. This is one of our favorite books that we look at when we're beekeeping, and it has so much information inside of it. This book is called 2 Million Blossoms. And it has our business in there too. Yes, our business was highlighted in this magazine, and it talks a lot about native bees, which we're going to touch on in a little bit here. It is a lot of information, so if you want to take notes or some of the literature and that type of thing, then that probably would be a good idea. But 2 Million Blossoms is such a great magazine. They support diversity, native bees, and it just has a bunch of great information if you want to learn more about bees. So remember, have fun with this. This is definitely something that shouldn't be stressful. It should actually reduce stress and be a fun activity for you and your family. So some of the things that when you're thinking about, when you're looking at your space, is number one, you want to look at your farm site criteria. You want to see what size your space is. You want to take a look at the soil conditions in your soil. And the cooperative extension is a great place that you can go and get your soil tested. It's pretty much free during the period of time coming into the spring and summer. So you could go over to their office, pick up a box, get a sample, and then you can see what it exactly is that you need to do with your soil. North Carolina is a wonderful place to grow in. It's a wonderful place to garden because it actually pretty much has 2 full growing seasons, which are coming out of the winter, and we still have food. So I wanted to get a little bit into what's going on right now. Right now we're going into spring, and I wanted to talk a little bit about succession planning. I think succession planning is one of the best things that you could do to keep a continuous food flow going throughout the seasons. Lettuce is one of the things that you can actually pretty much almost grow year round if you do succession planning properly. So this is just a great tip to grow throughout the season. And you can add color and different types of beautiful textures and flowers to create your own garden bowl in your backyard. So let me go down here a little bit to, so what you want to do is you want to, with the succession planning, if you start sowing seeds the first 6 weeks before the last frost, so you would sow your first six, you would sow your first seeds 6 weeks before the last frost. Then you want to go in every 10 to 12 days throughout the spring, and then that will give you right, that will give you a beautiful garden, beautiful colors, beautiful textures, and that will be a great way for you to grow all through the season. So succession planting is definitely something you can do with flowers as well. And this can go all the way through fall with the flowers. So if you plant those, I say about every 2 weeks, you can switch up plants. If you want to do a pollinator garden, then you would just start with you can start with sunflowers, then go to marigolds. Then if you want to go to another plant or pollinator after that, then that's pretty much how you would get flowers that will come in throughout the fall. And it's so pretty seeing those colors change throughout the season. We've enjoyed doing that for the last couple of years, and it's been amazing. It's definitely a place to garden to awaken your senses. Again, Kingston and I love sharing the experience of being able to go out.
And agriculture too.
Yes, yes, agriculture is definitely a beautiful, beautiful way to share with your families. And we definitely feel like the more families in this community that are planting seeds and beekeeping and gardening will be definitely a victorious moment, especially now. It's definitely something that is becoming more and more important in understanding our local food chain and really protecting our small farmers. And really, what better way to get involved is starting on your own. It also helps you to get so many resources in your local community when you're planning these type of things, because now you've connected with me today. You can easily come to the market and say, I have a question, or how do I go about finding this? And it's such a great resource when you're able to really tap in on your local farmers in that community, because there's so many things that they can teach you. It's so many resources that you can learn, who has the best hay, and you can see exactly where your food's being produced, where they're actually getting some of their resources from to have the freshest things in their gardens. So I really wanted to touch quickly on, don't forget about the native bees and plants here. Native bees and plants are such an essential part about our gardening experiences. Besides growing herbs and vegetables, I really think it's important to get a good understanding of native bees in its areas, because we actually have 560 native bees in North Carolina. I think that is a lot compared to the fact that it's only 4,000 native bees in the species of native bees in the United States. So 560 bees right here in North Carolina. And this year I'm kind of getting on a mission to actually identify more of those bees and visually be able to show people more of the native bees that we have here. So for 4,000 in the US, 560 native bees in North Carolina. So besides, protecting the honeybees, which are also an essential part of our food chain, we also have to take a deep consideration about native bees and native plants as well. So I'll go over a couple type of native bees that we have here in North Carolina. The sweat bee, I think a lot of us have seen that bee and we don't even realize it. It's a pretty small bee. Carpenter bees, of course, I think a lot of us have seen some of those different type of species, which they are not social bees. Carpenter bees are not social bees, so they don't create a colony. They actually will live underground and come from underground, and they will live independently, opposed to the honeybee, which has a full operating colony. They're very social, and their social structure is just a big part of how they operate as a whole. So bee hotels are a great way to add to your garden to support some of these native bees. We've actually added a couple last year, and it's good for them to actually nest in. Some of them are able to lay eggs inside of them. So you can look at ideas on how to build bee hotels if you're that creative. Or a fun project that Kingston and I did last summer is we actually created a bug hotel, and it was able to house ants and worms. And it was just a really cool way to take spiders, right? Ladybugs, we attracted ladybugs. I'm not sure if we got fireflies. I saw them. But it's just a great way to really attract beneficial bugs to your garden. And it's also fun to build with kids, and a great project to use old materials that you have laying around. It's a good way to make use to them. But definitely make sure you are careful of snakes with it, because it can be low to the ground and you don't want to put your hand in there. Right. Sometimes they can hide under the house. Sometimes. So I want to go back up to the more backyards growing food and planting in this community, the better it is. It helps really build a strong sense of community. A strong local food system is definitely, I feel like, our future. I feel like it's so important to us to be connected again to our large, small farmers and what they're doing on the local level in terms of food and community in that sense. So definitely reach out to any farmers that you can and see if you can come out for a visit and actually get involved with what's going on besides starting your own garden. And again, that can totally give you all the resources that you're looking for to start your own garden. You can ask questions and really get involved with what's going on in your local food system.
And you know what you're planting, and you know what you're eating every day too. That's the point where farmers actually eat their own food, actually.
Right. So farmers are always having the best recipes because they're cooking a lot of what they are growing themselves. And we have come up with some phenomenal recipes that I try to share as much as possible. So a couple people wanted to know about pollinator plants for your garden. Marigolds are definitely one that we enjoy adding each year. It helps with the disease pressure, and it's just such a beneficial and beautiful plant to look at. Mountain mint is definitely one that I like to grow here in North Carolina. It grows very well.
She likes to grow a lot.
And I also like plants that can be used for medicinal purposes. So you also want to make sure you're thinking about what exactly your goals are. Do you want to just attract pollinators? Are you thinking about food specifically? Are you trying to grow an herb garden, kitchen herbs? There's so many different things you can add to best fit your own personal needs. So you can do fruit, medicinal herbs, bee balm, mountain mint, coneflowers, zinnias, black-eyed Susans, which we grew last year, echinacea, asters, and of course, lavender. Lavender is definitely one of our favorites. And I also wanted to mention dandelions are the bees' first food when spring hits. So also think about the fact that a little bit a messy yard is okay. So we want to have compassion to some of those neighbors who might be having a couple extra leaves, or dandelions and the wild violets are growing a little bit. We want to consider that sometimes those people are really trying to support the pollinators and help them keep that first food source going.
And with dandelions, you can do some pretty fun projects too.
Right. So we like to use dandelions are actually a medicine. It's actually a medicinal herb, and it's also edible. So the backyard can also be a great place to go out and forage and figure out what type of plants have more purpose.
Mushrooms too.
Mushrooms definitely are more than a weed. So I hope this kind of covers some of the things that you're looking for, and I'm definitely open to answering any questions. I've actually created a spring planting guide for a home vegetable garden, and it has everything listed here. But what I'll do is either send this over through an email to Renault de Village, but I'll go over it really quick, and you can write down some of the things that are on here. And this way, this will help you plan out what's coming up and what you can plan specifically right now to start off. And you can get going on all of these things pretty much right now. So I'm going to go down that list. If you want to write any of this down, then you can, again, plant a lot of these by direct seed right now. So broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and those go from March 15th through the 31st. Cauliflower, again, March 15th through the 31st. You can do your cucumbers, pickling. And then for your succession planning, you can do the lettuce, again, is phenomenal for that.
Lavender.
Kale, mustard greens, onions, Swiss chard, Chinese cabbage, kohlrabi, beets, and asparagus. So that is a pretty much a complete list of everything that we can grow right now in our zone for the weather that's happening right now. This is everything that you can use for your succession planting. Every lettuce is listed here, and we'll get that list to everybody. And once you get that going, then I hope everybody's garden is full of color, beautiful, everybody's sharing. I love the sense of sharing, and I just love the old school ways of community and really being able to go to your neighbor and exchange things in a barter system, and just the joy of family and planting seeds. I still think is a beautiful thing that we should all appreciate no matter what. And Kingston has definitely been a phenomenal sidekick to my adventure in farming. And he wanted to show you one of our other guests. We got another special guest, though. That's another project we've been working on during spring. So Kingston, let's see, what do we have here? So we've got some baby chicks that we've been, hey April. So we have some baby chicks that he wanted to show you that we've been hatching out in our incubator. And we had a couple little sick chicks we've been taking care of. And the farm is definitely full of life right now. The chicks are coming in, the eggs are full. You can come and visit us over at the Cobblestone Market, and check out what we're doing for this summer with our CSA, and also the project with our greenhouse, and everything that we're trying to build to add to our community food system. That's the best that we can do, is just to keep working on it. So I'm open to questions now, if anybody has any. I was trying to stay focused and not read them during the talk, but we can go forth with those.
Someone was asking about any favorite companion plant pairs that you recommend.
You know what? For me, I do like to do more companion planting with fruits and, well, with my vegetables. So the Three Sisters is always a good idea. But for me, I'm more of a vegetables. You can do beets, celery, chard, spinach, and onions. You could do a bee hotel. Somebody owns a bee hotel. Beans, lettuce, onion, peas, peppers, and tomatoes, cabbage, carrots, chard, lettuce, and peppers and tomatoes. So those are some of the things that you could grow. All of those things we pretty much grow each year. Right now, you can actually do the beets together, the onions together. So if you're growing a lettuce, if you're putting it in a shaded area, then that would be the best way to get it through the heat. Most of the time I don't fully go out to the summer. So you want to get on a succession planning right now if you want to, make it through spring and you get through part of the summer. This year I actually cut down a tree, so I have more sunlight in the area that was kind of shaded last year. So I'm hoping that I can go longer with the lettuce, because I can actually spread it out into a more shaded area and see how that goes. Yes, so we do
Yes,
compost.
Yeah,
We actually do vermiculture for our composting.
we have a lot of worms too.
Yes,
Welcome.
yes. So we do. We have a lot of worms here. I actually used to be very afraid of worms. I'm not afraid to admit it.
She used to think
But I could not let this little guy see me scared of worms. So I couldn't let him see me do it. So now I'm picking them up, and I have a whole worm bin. Actually, we just made a new project which we use old shroom cubes from Borrowed Land Farm, and we made it into a small composting bin, and we feed it toilet tissue rolls, which I'm so happy to be able to get rid of some of those, and they're not going in the trash can. I feel like I'm excelling at life when I'm not just dumping all the toilet tissue rolls into the trash can. So we've actually been feeding the cardboard to the worms, and they love it. So if you can get a chance to add worms this year, highly suggest it for some of that paper towel rolls. They love to eat it. They will break it down, and it's a way to erase some of that carbon footprint, which is like really big for us this year. One of my hugest goals is definitely to eliminate some of that type of thing. I think it's so important. But you can also visit Cobblestone Farmers Market on Saturdays. They do have a place that you can compost your vegetables, right, Kingston? Right, so you can take a bucket during the week and just bring it on Saturdays. It's accessible. You can just come anytime from, I think it's about 9 to 12, and just drop everything off there if you don't have a setup at home. But the worm bin is definitely one that's fun. You don't have to have a major setup with that. You can use actually a tote, 2 totes, poke some holes inside of it, soil worms. If you choose to, you can do it even smaller than that. But it's a good way just to eliminate some of the produce, especially for me. Like I said, I appreciate the paper roll products and not putting those in the trash can or recycling them. It feels good.
Finally, you're doing something good for this world.
Gosh, Kingston just makes you so hopeful about everything. It's finally, oh my God, I love that. He just warms my heart. And I wanted to share this book also with any of those people who like to do growing herbs or medicinal herbs. It's actually called the Eyewitness Handbooks. These books are freaking phenomenal. This one actually has over 700 herb species inside of it. Most of them, you can find native plants from North Carolina. It has a photo, a description of what it does medicinally, which yesterday I actually learned from this book. Forsythia is a medicinal plant. The seeds on it can be used for a number of things. And I have some bushes outside, and I'm gonna tap into those this year. But it's just so much to learn in this book. So if you're looking for a book on specifically herbs, I know a lot of people really enjoy herb gardens. This one is phenomenal because not only do you learn about where they started, but you can learn about the medicinal purposes, what they look like, and maybe you can forage around and found some things that you've never really ran across of and known that they were actually a medicinal plant. So it really is good also for understanding some of the medicinal plants inside of medications. I really appreciate that aspect of it as well. And this year, one more thing I wanted to share is journaling is such a big part of gardening or farming or beekeeping or even your pollinator garden. So just write down the things, and each year you can reflect back on where you started from. I can't see that whole question there. Can you? Okay, it said, can you explain how you go from herbs to
form?
I don't know if you could.
I think, how do you go from the plant or herb to the actual form that you use for medicinal purposes? So I think you make some balms and you make some.
Right. So it's just so many different ways that you could go about it. I do a lot of preservation. I hang some of the herbs. Some of them are dried. Each of them have different properties that you can use. Like some of them you might realize the leaf is something that can be used, and also the seed is something that can
have. Some of these medicines are from hospitals too.
That some of them can be used. So it really just depends on what the plant is. The elderberry, that would be dried out once I pick everything or harvest everything, that goes into a dried state. The peppers, a lot of that goes into a dehydrated state. So it just depends on the process of each product, specifically what I would do with it. A lot of it is dried and dehydrated. But it, like I said, it's just such an adventure with herbs because it's so many. Like I said, learning yesterday about forsythia, I had no idea about how much the seed was medicinal, and I really appreciated learning about that. And also the leaves have medicinal purposes. So plants can have, the seeds can be used for one thing, the flower used for another. Like the elderberry during the season this year, we'll start having some of the flower, and it's really such a delicate flower to use for a tea, and it's aromatic. So it's each phase has something just to offer of the whole growing phase of it.
Let's see. Trying to see if there's anything else we missed. Someone's asking if you shred your cardboard before you put it in with the worms, or you
No.
throw it in there. Throw it in there. Okay.
Yeah, just you really don't have to shred it. They really like that grooved kind of cardboard, and sometimes you can find that inside of boxes, like more of the packing boxes, like Amazon boxes. I know majority of us do, buy things online, but those grooved top edges that are on the top or the bottom of the box, they love that stuff. So you don't even really have to shred it up at all. Just stick it inside of it. If you want to break it down, into larger pieces, that works fine. But normally you can collect, the week's worth of rows and put some in, as you're going through the week. But they really honestly love to break that type of thing down, and you get some of the richest nutrients. Vermiculture is one of the top ways to feed your plants. So it is a great way to add from reduction of waste and also food to feed back to your plants. And compost tea is actually something you can make from that. I look forward to seeing you too, April. I've missed seeing you this summer and spring. But Kingston, he's been dying to tell you all about the benefits of honey. He keeps mentioning honey, and
It was good.
and I guess what he's trying to mention, and he really doesn't know, is it's allergy season.
Allergy season. There's a lot of pollen up there.
Right. So allergy season is the best time to get hold of some local honey. Yeah, allergy season is here. Check out your local beekeepers, and don't forget to make sure. I'm trying to read. I can't read some of the questions. Yeah, don't forget to check out some of your local beekeepers here. Not only myself, but it's several other. Check those out for your local honey.
Yeah, someone was asking about if you're a vendor at Cobblestone or other markets, and what type of products do you sell?
Yes, I'm a vendor.
Medicine, that's the best one.
Yep. So we are vendors at the Cobblestone Farmers Market. We also will be heading to the Black Farmers Market in Durham this year for the spring and summertime. That'll be something new. We're excited to kind of venture out in that area and connect with more people in this world. But we also sell elderberry syrup, local honey. We do a Scotch bonnet infused honey, which is delicious if you like sweet and spicy.
Honey is inside the Scotch bonnet. So mix that together. It's good because the fire tonic is really good.
Right. So we also make a fire tonic, which is similar to a fire cider that helps with a multitude of things. We do have a full CSA 14-week program in the summertime, again, that helps to support other local farmers. Last year, we had Borrowland Farms included. We had a couple other local farmers that were inside of it. And what we do is just try to highlight farmers and also try to make it a community effort to build up what each of those farmers are doing, and actually put some money inside of their pockets through a community and working together. So it was a really good experience. It's definitely a lot of work, but yes, it was a lot of fun. But we definitely, again, truly believe the future is our local farmers in terms of food and healthy food.
A lot of healthy food. You have to eat healthy. You have to eat healthy these days a lot.
Yeah. Someone was asking if you're organic. Do you use fertilizer or solely compost?
No, we solely use compost here. By us having bees, we're not able to use a lot of different things.
Fertilizers?
Right, we're not able to do a lot in terms of definitely chemicals on any type of our plants. We're not able to do that at all.
No, just go.
We do compost teas with our vermiculture being, and this year, like I said, we're looking to do some new things in terms of
No, we don't sell phone.
new things in terms of building up how much food we're producing. So we don't have a huge farm here. We are more of an urban style farm, but we have been able to make the best of our backyard space, which has been beautiful and such an example of what you could do, excuse me, with any type of space.
Someone's asking if you sell pollen.
We do have small
yeah.
amounts of pollen during the season. That is something that you can pick up at the farmer's market. We should have some here in the next few weeks, which is great if you have allergies. It definitely helps consuming a small amount of that daily and increasing that as you go on through the weeks, and will help you definitely have less symptoms with allergies or hay fever.
I did not know that. I learned
Yep.
something
So
new.
consuming a small amount of the bee pollen is similar to the honey, and just take small amounts daily, and that will help you have less symptoms.
When you had mentioned mountain mint, I learned from a friend of ours that has a bulb business that if you take mountain mint and crush the leaves and rub it on your arms, it repels mosquitoes.
Right, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's so many things that you learn that you can do with plants. Like I said, the seed of the forsythia had, a different value than the leaves, and I just think it's such a beautiful thing when you start really getting connected to the plant, especially if you're doing it for medicinal purposes and that type of thing. Then that connection to the whole growing process is really that energy. I feel that, is a lot, really connected to the products that we make, being able to actually go out and get that honey and put it inside of there and nurture that process. I think is one of the most amazing things. And it's the same way.
The reason that beekeeping, it brings out our culture too. It does.
Yeah, it's the same way with food, and being able to have that connection to your food by being able to see who's growing it, you growing it yourself. It really just makes a great experience.
Let's see. I don't know if we've got any more questions out there.
Anyone?
I finally remembered.
Ready for questions.
Yeah, I finally remembered it was Kelly Clarkson.
Oh yeah, she's
Yeah.
a great singer.
So we met her last year, which she was really phenomenal. And right.
That was fun.
Right. So we learned that her brother actually is a farmer here in North Carolina. And that was why she hold on, can't see. So that was a big part of why she was so attracted to what we're doing over here is she does have some family here. She said her brother was just one of those type of people who can just like grow out and throw a seed in the ground. And then, he has just a beautiful harvest each year, and he was really connected to it. And she was really such a down to earth person. And really just was just really an awesome connect in terms of getting our story out and really showing the power of families planting seeds. And it just could not have been a better opportunity. And again, I was so proud to represent Forsyth County, Winston-Salem, and really highlight it in a positive way. And I think out of everything, it's just been beautiful to see, this town being highlighted in such a positive way. And now when people think about food, beekeeping, and all of those great things, the first thing they think about now, a lot of people, is Winston-Salem. And I don't think it could be, any more better than that. And I'm farming here, industrialized farming, of course, has been a huge part of North Carolina. But when we see now today, people being able to recognize small farmers, across the New York Times, that's major. And like you said, John, Kelly Clarkson. And when they think about small farming in the farmers market, they think about Winston-Salem. And I think that's beautiful, again, considering that most of the time we think of North Carolina as more of tobacco and the industrialized side of it. But now we're seeing how important the families are in terms of food and how we see it here in North Carolina too. So I'm proud of that.
Awesome. Someone was asking if you did tours of the farm and how big your farm is.
Right now, the farm is it's a construction site right now. So
I can understand that.
right now it's in a work in progress. We have never been so far ahead since we've started. And 4 years ago, we've built a deck over the winter time. We built a tool shed. We've added goats, a goat pen. We're working on a greenhouse, a hoop house. So
that's awesome.
Sorry about that, but right now it's a construction site, but we're really excited to show what we've been working on and how great it will be to the community, how much of an asset it will be once we get it all together.
Yeah, and if you really want to get some insights, you've got to follow her on Instagram. It's your Instagram posts are amazing. They're inspiring.
Well, I appreciate it. I really love the authentic feel of the Instagram and really, sharing some of the conversations that we need to have about, farming and land and connection to land and family and all of those type of things. So it's really just been a great part again with connecting to people all across the world. I mean, it's been people in Italy and just all over, who look for Mother's Finest for the wellness products, the advice, the realness. And a lot of people have been motivated to get up and actually go out and start a garden or beekeep. And, the representation has been a powerful thing, and we're pretty proud of that.
Oh yeah, and April was mentioning about you're on Facebook too with videos and recipes.
Right. So I do a lot of the recipes on Facebook. I haven't been able to integrate that over to Instagram yet because I'm more of a dash of this and a sprinkle of that cook. So I'm trying to wait to implement some videos that, really kind of highlight. And I've been doing some lives lately. Hopefully I can implement that into Instagram soon. But Kingston, actually what sparked that back up is I was looking and I saw a video Kingston we were making something, but I'm like, wait a minute, I need to get back into cooking because I really want to show people not only we probably were how to grow the food, but also how to cook it and prepare it too. I think that's an important part of the whole process is the cooking and figuring out what you can do with all of the produce that you grow. A lot of people will come to the market and they're like, okay, now what do I do with everything? So initially with the CSA, I wanted to have 14 weeks of recipes too. Hopefully this year I can do that. But last year it was such a necessity with the virus hitting and people really like needing the food. It was hard to kind of manage outside of just getting the food to everybody. Of course, you have high hopes starting out and then the situation kind of just changed quickly. But I still try to show people again, let's be able to recreate it, make it taste good, because this guy's eating mushrooms and I'm pretty proud of that. He even eats Brussels sprouts. So
there you go.
When the mushrooms taste like chicken, it's actually pretty good.
He's the chicken of the woods mushroom.
Yeah.
He likes that one.
That's my favorite
part. Melissa was saying to have you tell us about the movie you're featured in.
Believing Ghosts? Yeah, that movie, I think. Right.
So Believe in Ghosts would actually be at I think it would be online first at Short Week coming July 2nd. So July 2nd will be the first public viewing of it. It's really powerful. I mean, it's a really moving
Black culture.
Kingston, hold on a second. It's just a really moving movie. Kingston actually starred in it. It's about family and farming, but it really just digs into the history of farming and showing where we are today and how hard we've been pushing to really, like Kingston said, to preserve part of our culture in farming and also to highlight it in a beautiful way and not to make it such a traumatic experience for everybody. So for us, we see this as a beautiful thing. We love it. We think that it's something that should be shared all across the world. And the movie, you know, it was a tearjerker once I watched it, and the final cut came in, and these are some really big folks who are working on producing this film. One of the producers actually worked on Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. Thomas, the videographer, was from, I think he's from the UK, or he's from overseas. But anyway, it was produced. Some of it was sponsored by Kodak Film. It's shot on Kodak Film. Later on, I'll be doing a blog interview with Kodak and talking about some of the moments were shot right here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. A lot of it on the east side of North Carolina, which I was pretty proud of, because I actually used to live on that side of town, a few blocks down the street from Wake Forest University. So again, it was something I felt like really brought beauty to Winston-Salem. Like, I believe when people think about one of those historical moments, once they see the film, Believing Ghosts would be one of those things. And it was something that I feel like was so relevant in time with the way things were shifting, coming into the coronavirus, and also some of the racial injustice that was going on at the same time. And I had never had any acting experience at all, really none at all. So coming into that and stepping in such a powerful role was really, it was a lot of work. But again, I can't even believe at moments that I actually produced the whole entire film through a pandemic. And then there's something else special coming on up in March, but you can follow the Instagram and check it out and see what that'll be.
Somebody asked for the Instagram.
I think somebody added it into the comments, but it's just been busy. You know, it's been busy for me. I've been trying to represent as best as I can and stay on top of things. It's a lot of work, but
you wear many hats.
Yeah, it's a lot of hats, but you know what? I'm hoping that in some kind of way it inspires other people to do some of the things that I'm doing currently.
Yeah, and someone was asking when the film will be released again and what venue will it be released on?
So actually, I think eventually it probably will come to River Run. It's probably going to go to Sundance, Tribeca. It's going to go pretty much to some of the major festivals. But the first release that you can actually see before it hits here, short week, and that's July 2nd. So if you can go to the website at Short Week. Let me look that up. Yep, Short Week. So Short Week, July 2nd. It was some extras here that were from North Carolina. They were kind enough to place roles inside of the film, and one of them reached out to me like, when is the movie coming out? But I think people would be pretty proud of it. I'm proud of it, you know, in terms of really standing up and talking about some of the issues that have been, you know, faced in the past and how we're making it better, because it is a new generation out here. And I'm really happy that we're able to do things like what we're doing now and show that community is still strong. We still need to work together in order to make things, you know, more positive and impactful. So I think this is an awesome thing.
Yeah. Well, Samantha, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. You know, I really do feel you're a bright spot in our community, and I'm thankful that you're here. I'm hoping we can connect more, especially as things start easing up and restrictions start making it easier just to get together. We'd love to have you over here anytime. Michelle was saying she'd love to share some plants with you. So
I would love that. The way to my heart is definitely plants and seeds. Like
we are kindred spirits.
Yes, I love sharing plants and seeds. That's the way to my heart. And I'll get that list over to everybody, so everybody can have everything that they need to start right now. All of these things. You are so welcome, April. I appreciate being able to share this information. Hopefully, we are all prospering in our gardens this year. And the city is looking full of pollinators, full of bees and butterflies, and just so many beautiful things. Let's make this town as beautiful as possible. I believe that it's meant to be that for sure. I love you all, and thank you for being such a support to me. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Samantha. Happy gardening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.